Hi, it's Mindy with Astrology.by.love, and today I'm going to be talking about Mayim Bialik. So I know a lot of us know her from the past in Blossom and also from Big Bang Theories. She was Amy Farrah Fowler, and I know she's got a new show coming out. I'm going to have to look that up and put that in the comments down below. But I saw her chart the other day, and I was like, wow, look at all that is in her chart. So if you want to follow along, print your own chart, you can go to astrodienst.com, astrodienst.com, and they have free charts you can set up. Her birthday is December 12th, 1975 at 9:08 p.m., and she was born in San Diego, California. So her chart has 2 Yods, 3 stelliums, a grand trine, and a grand cross. So lots of good stuff to talk about today. I wanted to talk about her grand trine first. And so I've bought myself some new astrology software, and I can't figure out how to print it in color. And so I have printed it a couple of different times, and I have just highlighted it for now, so we'll get through this. But these are the points involved in her grand trine. So we have the stellium in her 9th house, we have the contact with the ascendant, and then the stellium over here in Sagittarius. Remember that a stellium is when 3 or more planets or points are together. So these are the stelliums in her chart. So I've highlighted them so that they're easier to see. There's that 9th house one, and we're going to talk quite a bit about that one. So, but like I said, the first thing I wanted to talk about was her grand trine. Every bit of these points of the grand trine are in fire signs. So, you know, I remember her in Blossom and in Big Bang Theory, you know, just very bubbly, very outgoing. And that's all this fire energy. Sagittarius, Aries, Leo are the fire signs, and they're known for being passionate, talkative, creative, and you know, so Mayim's sun is in Sagittarius and has a loose 8-degree conjunction with Mercury. And I know we've talked in other videos about a lot of celebrities have that Mercury-Sun conjunction. And when your sun is close to Mercury, it shows that you are known for the way you think or the way you speak. A lot of times singers have this in their chart because we know them from their voice. And Mayim's no different. So let's see here. The sun in Mercury is in Mayim's 5th house. So down here, and the 5th house is the house of creativity, play. It shows about a person's childhood, and it's also how they have fun. It shows dating and casual sex. And so you find all this information in the 5th house. Mayim starred in her first movie around the age of 13, and then when she was 16, starred in the sitcom Blossom. That's when that started. And this is the most obvious way that her Mercury and Sun conjunction is visible to the world. We know her from speaking and acting. And it's also cool. Neptune, the planet of illusion, delusion, fantasy, is also wrapped up in this. So that, you know, manifesting itself in her life in acting, you know, is just an obvious way for it to happen. So, and we see that, you know, the sun is in her 5th house. Wherever the sun is in your chart, that is where you feel energized. That's where you go to recharge. And so we can see that acting and pretending and, you know, memorizing scripts and everything, that recharged Mayim. That felt good to her. So that's her natural energy. And it's just also a wonderful natural outlet for any of this mercurial energy. It's also trine her stellium. So remember, the trine's 120 degrees. So it's trine her stellium in the 9th house. So this stellium, trine this stellium. So that's a lot of strong energy. And the 9th house is the place where we have long distance travels. It's where we have studied a long time and have higher education. It's where we have had long spiritual progress. So it's higher versions of religion, spirituality, education, long trips. It can indicate, it has influences of foreign countries with the long trips. So that's the ninth house. And her Jupiter, Moon, part of fortune, and Chiron, all in Aries in the ninth house within 9 degrees and 4 minutes of each other. So what's really cool, Mayim's Jupiter is at 14 degrees and 45 minutes of Aries, which is less than half a degree from the star Alpheratz. So Alpheratz is at 14 degrees, 18 minutes of Aries. Alpheratz is a wonderfully fortunate star. So the ancient astrologers said that Alpheratz is of the nature of Jupiter and Venus. Alpheratz brings a positive, happy nature, philosophical mind, preferment from those high up in government and religious positions, and also helps, it shows Mayim gets favor from women as well as honor and riches. So, that's pretty awesome. And it's any planet within 2 degrees of Alpheratz becomes affected by this energy. And in Mayim's case, it's Jupiter. So Jupiter, already shows in our chart where we're blessed, where we're fortunate. It expands what it touches. And so, Jupiter is expanding this energy in her ninth house, this favor, this wealth, this preferment, this philosophical mind. All this is essentially ninth house energy anyways, located in her ninth house and expanded by Jupiter. So, the benefits of Alpheratz is expanded by Jupiter, and then also the energy works with her sun, because this energy in this stellium is working down here with the energy in this stellium. So they are trading energy, they are feeding off each other in a natural way, and that's really cool. So her moon is also nearby Jupiter, and the moon is not really well placed in Aries, but Mayim's moon is located near Jupiter, which softens it. So Aries is ruled by Mars. It's the sign of, it's the masculine warrior. It's how we go after things. It's our aggression. And the moon is ruled by Cancer, soft, feminine. And so when an aggressive energy comes into the moon, which is our emotional bodies, that's not really comfortable. Fortunately for Mayim, though, Jupiter does soften this energy for her, and Jupiter also brings her moon, her emotional body, a positive, more spiritual outlook on the world. She's still a go-getter at heart. Her emotions are still impulsive. They're still going after it. It's just not as harsh, and not, it comes from more of a spiritual and a good place. So her Chiron and part of fortune are also closely conjunct in her ninth house. So Chiron is a little circle with the K. That's an asteroid that cycles between Uranus and Saturn and brings that energy together. And then part of fortune is the circle with the cross. So the part of fortune is not a planet or heavenly body. It's a calculated point in one's chart. And the formula is different depending on whether you're born during the day or you're born at night. So if your sun is located in houses 1 through 6, you're born at night, like Mayim is. If your sun is located in houses 7 through 12, you were born during the day. And astrology.by.love will calculate this part of fortune math problem for you. And so if you go to their extended chart selection, you can click on the free horoscopes tab, scroll to the bottom, and they have at the bottom, they call part of fortune pars fortunae. I think that's Latin. And so the part of fortune in a chart can show you what to expect when it comes to money and health. It can be another indicator in the chart of this. So, Mayim's part of fortune and Chiron is showing that she is in this world to help heal others through something that has hurt her in some way. So she's experienced some kind of pain, but out of this pain, she is healing others with it. And this is all in the ninth house, which, once again, higher education, influences of a higher order, government, in religion. And to me, one of the things I love about Mayim that makes her so unique is her intellectual sophistication. It's something that, it's not readily seen in Hollywood a lot of times. And so I also love her devotion to Judaism and her discipline in following its concepts. There's a lot of people out there who claim to be of a certain religion or a certain following, but they're not necessarily devoted to it. And she puts herself out there and walks the line. So, I have great respect for that. So Mayim has a PhD in neuroscience. Google let me know that 1.1% of the entire world population has a PhD. According to Wikipedia, her dissertation was an investigation of hypothalamic activity in patients with Prader-Willi syndrome entitled hypothalamic regulation in relation to maladaptive, obsessive-compulsive, affiliative, and satiety behavior in Prader-Willi syndrome. So I just feel like Penny on Big Bang Theory saying that, because that's so far over my head. But, this is, very much how, Jupiter, along with the stars and Chiron, the energy from the sun, Mercury, this is very much how this would play out. This is an expected outcome. That does not by any means diminish her accomplishments. It's amazing for anybody to have a PhD also in neuroscience and a huge acting career as well. She's amazing. So something else, another way that this energy plays out from the 9th house, Mayim is also a staunch Zionist. So this is a section of Judaism and has appeared in the media several times. She's got several YouTube videos as well where she is promoting her beliefs in her faith in Judaism and answering questions. She has a couple of YouTube videos out there where she dresses as Amy Farrah Fowler answering questions, and others as she's dressed as Blossom answering questions on Judaism. And her beliefs are what keep her covered up on the red carpet, which, truly does make her stand out in Hollywood. That's, when you think of Hollywood, or at least when I think of it, I think of, sex, drugs, rock and roll, fake blondes with fake boobs. And she keeps her arms and cleavage covered out of respect for herself and her beliefs. And she sees this as the proper way to live. And, with her moon attached to Jupiter in the 9th house, this once again makes sense. Her Wikipedia said her minor in her collegiate studies were Hebrew and Jewish studies, which once again, these are 9th house issues, which is where all these planets are. She's also very active in political causes, more 9th house territory. Back in 2017, she sent a letter to the New York Times giving her opinion on the Harvey Weinstein investigations. Unfortunately for Mayim, at that time, Neptune in the sky was squaring her natal Neptune. So her words and her intentions got twisted, and she received a lot of backlash and negative criticism for this letter. And, this, honestly, she was, I believe, trying to use her Chiron energy and heal and help people see her point of view, and she got hurt from it instead. She's also another way she uses her Chiron to heal. It plays out in her advocating for animals. So she's a founding member of the Alpheratz Institute, which is a Jewish organization that encourages ethical treatment of animals. And so both of these stelliums, the one in Sagittarius and Aries, they not only trine each other, they also trine her ascendant. And so this is like a super wonderful energy. I'm a little bit jealous. So this shows that, her sun is involved here. So her sun, which is your ego, your inner self, your moon, which is your emotional body. And these have that natural energy, that 120 degrees natural energy that flows to her ascendant right over here. So this shows that Mayim's a genuine human. So she's comfortable in her own skin. What you see is what you get. She's not having to go through 10 years of therapy to integrate like who she is and show it to the world and become genuine. She's like been able to skip 10 years of therapy to get to that place. So, and that's, showing up in her chart. That's just how she was born. That's, I consider that to be a gift. And so, which is pretty cool. And so the next thing I want to talk about though is her pesky grand cross. And so I'm being a little bit loose with this term. A grand cross is when there are 4 points in a chart all 90 degrees apart. So your ascendant and descendant are always going to be 180 degrees apart. They're always exactly opposite. North node and south node always going to be 180 degrees apart, opposite. And so the nodes are destiny points in your chart. The south node shows where you're comfortable with. You just kind of know how to do it. It's just easy peasy. And the north node is what you want, and somehow it gets frustrated. Sometimes people don't go after the north node because they don't think they can have it. It's too big of a goal. It scares them. They're anxious about it. But it's there. And so energy around the north node gets released at the age of 42, and energy around the south node, you're able to kind of go back to it and blossom some more around the age of 52. So anyway, so this grand cross, as you can see, it's in the opposite direction of her ascendant. And so while she's comfortable being who she is drawn destiny-wise into uncomfortable territory, which totally frustrates her. But even more interesting, so her north node is in her 4th house, which is home, family, upbringing. So that's a destiny point. At some point we are going to see her be more of a stay-at-home mom, more of a stay-at-home figure. And until that, and so let's see, so Mayim is 45, so she has recently had her nodal return. So she is at a place, she is mainly working from home. She wants to be that stay-at-home woman. She wants to be that stay-at-home mother. And her 4th house is ruled by Scorpio. So I imagine she has a very regimented home. Things are organized. She may be a little obsessive OCD about the way that she wants things done. And, but so her north node has matured, and she's a single mom. So her desire is to be at home. I don't know if she has fully accomplished this yet, but working from home is going to be a main priority for her and something she feels called to do at this point in her life. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was her fabulous Yods. So a Yod is the word Yod, Y-O-D. It's an old Hebrew word for finger. And in astrology, a Yod is sometimes called the finger of God. And so it is a destiny point. Not everybody has a Yod in their chart. It's when two quincunxes or inconjuncts are opposite each other and come down to the same point. So in her chart, we've got the Yod that comes down to the north node, which is a reiteration of an already destiny point. And then we've got the other Yod that goes up to her MC. Once again, already a marker in her chart. So, that's a lot of reiterated energy. An inconjunct and quincunx are 150 degrees apart. And anytime you have an inconjunct or a quincunx, there's an uncomfortable relationship between those 2 points. It's something you can do, but you don't really feel comfortable doing it. And, no amount of therapy is going to make that energy go away. You're always going to kind of just, you're going to be able to do it. You're going to be able to go for it, but it's not ever going to feel really comfortable. And so, so Mayim has the energy from this stellium here with Neptune going up to her MC. So there is something that feels uncomfortable, like the acting. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like she feels like she's lying. Maybe she feels like she is putting a false front out there. There's something about her acting that makes it uncomfortable, yet she does it and she succeeds and she does well. And that Pluto energy here in the third house also goes up to that MC point. So she's obsessed with it, she's driven to do it, and she succeeds, and somehow that's uncomfortable for her. And then these 2 points, so it's her part of fortune in Chiron, so that healing energy in her 9th house makes it uncomfortable for her to be at home. I mean, this shows she's kind of, you know, this 9th house energy is strong. So that's a big part of who she is, how we know her. You know, she's known as an intellect. She's known as a political activist. This is part of who she is, and it makes it uncomfortable for her to have that desire to be at home. Her Mars is also in the 11th house in Gemini. So Mars isn't really comfortable in Gemini. So Gemini is kind of a back and forth, not wishy-washy energy, but Gemini needs constant stimulation. So Gemini, Joan Rivers was a Gemini, and she said it wonderfully. I read in one of her interviews that she just needed stimulation to feel alive. It didn't matter to her if it was negative or positive. She just needed stimulation. All stimulation was good. And that is Gemini energy. And so with your Mars and Gemini, you're not necessarily consistent, but you like that stimulation. And sometimes Mars will even just pull back just to see if that causes chaos, some kind of random energy, something else that goes on. And so with it in her 11th house, this is her group of friends. Mayim probably plays a lot of head games with her friends. With Mars is also an aggressive energy. So there may be head games played with her. Her friends may show some aggression, something like that. And that energy, once again, brings about an awkwardness that brings her back home, North Node in the 4th house. So we'll probably be seeing less of her over time. She may do interviews and have pet projects, but she's going to be working out of her home. That's, you know, she has already accomplished what she needs to accomplish. So, you know, I expect to see her working out of her home. So, anyways, but that is Mayim Bialik, and I think she is fantastic. So please like and subscribe. I've got the link to my website. It should be back up here in the next few days, y'all. I'm working on it. And so I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And let me know in the comments down below what you thought, and if there's any other celebrities you'd like for me to do. Thanks for hanging with me today.